have Eric Caston from Middletown Elementary, a third grade teacher, and he's going to be talking to us about badging. How are you doing, Eric?
I'm well. How are you doing, Stephen?
Doing great. Good to see you again.
You too.
Well, Eric did a session last week, and he talked about, like I said, third grade teacher at Middletown Elementary, and he talked about how he has implemented badging to keep his students motivated during NTI. Actually, we talked. Eric and I are friends. We, talked to each other about things in education, and he was talking about how he had a star chart in your physical classroom, correct?
Yeah, it was a progress chart, and it started with keeping track of specifically their Zern assignments, which is our math program tied to Engage New York. And it was something that I kept up in the class and kept up updated regularly. The students would see it. It was right near the door as they were coming in, and they would check to see, where they were at, each day, and kind of see if they had, met the requirements for that day and for the week. And we'd celebrate each other during our class meeting. So it was something that the kids were just kind of used to seeing on a daily basis when we had, in-class school.
Yes. And so you were trying to find a way, as a lot of teachers were doing, like, how do I change up for NTI and how do I keep my students motivated? And you came up with this great badging idea, and we just had to share it. A lot of people enjoyed it from last week, and we're glad to have you back.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, it was, one of the things that's super important to me in my classroom is my class meetings. And oftentimes, either prior to a weekend or just after a weekend, I'd ask the students to share something that they had done. And oftentimes, I would hear about, the video games they were playing, which, of course, meant a lot to me. And I know you too, because we're both gamers.
Yes.
And so that was kind of where the idea from this came, is I would listen to these stories about these achievements and things that they would earn. And they looked forward to it. I mean, they were excited about it. And so I just thought, hey, how can I implement that in what we're doing right now in this, more digital format?
A great way of actually, paying attention to what your kids are interested in, what motivates them, and say, okay, let's work that into what we're learning with school.
Absolutely. Yeah. Would you like me to go ahead and get started with
this? Yes, that'd be great.
Show? Sure. All right. You're welcome. So I'll go ahead and I started with thinking about, some assignments that would lend themselves easily to this idea of badging. And one of the things that we created with the help of another actual website that we found was digital reading logs. And it kind of ties in with the nightly reading that we had already required our students to do each night. And so this was something that we found. We used a Google form. Every student has their own individual Google form that then populates a shared Google sheet where we can easily see what students, are reading, gives a quick summary, and we can log it that way, which helps us then with our badging. And then also our Zern Online lessons, we're asking them to do 5 lessons a week or 1 a day. And then a couple weeks ago, we had the students working on an animal habitat project, and it required some research, creating a model of some sort, and a descriptive paragraph. And so with that digital reading log, that was a form that, like I said, populates that Google sheet. We're asking the students to do 5 of those a week. And when they finish up 5 of those entries, then they would receive the Rad Reader Rank 1 badge. And then since we are asking them to do it in a week, but we know everybody's situation is a little different at this time, and we're a Leader in Me school, I decided to include some of that Leader in Me verbiage into one of my badges and creating like a consistency badge or a putting first things first badge. And so that was kind of the reading end of things.
I love that, because they're going to be missing out on that now that they're out of the physical school. I came from a school like that as well, where the Leader in Me, you heard about it every day. Well, now they might not be hearing about it, so you just incorporated it into the badge.
That's exactly right. Absolutely. And so, I mean, that program itself lends itself very easily to doing these different badges, because you can see if a student is working on an assignment ahead of time, if they're looking to you for feedback, if they are being proactive.
Yeah, good point.
They are, beginning with the end in mind, those types of things. Absolutely.
I guess I didn't realize how much Leader in Me was going to prepare students for NTI.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, and then our Zern is very similar. We ask the students to do 5 Zern lessons a week, or 1 a day during the weekdays. And that would give them the different rank badges. And each time they would complete that, they would rank up. Just like they do in all those different video games. Each time they complete a new assignment or more to that same one and they achieve, the next rank, then it puts them up in status. And so the same thing for if they finish it all in 1 week, and they'll get that putting first things first badge, knowing that they're getting that done. And I still have a lot of conversations with my students in our class meetings online in Google Meet, talking about, okay, so what's your schedule look like? You guys getting up and you guys putting these first things first and getting this stuff done, and being proactive about their assignments. And so it's been great to have that connection and then be able to, spotlight those students and give them these badges on their Google pages in Google Classroom.
And I love it that it's not just, you did your math, here's a badge. You did this, here's a badge. It's actually like, you're making progress, here's your rank. So there can always be a higher rank. I assume
Right.
you don't have your ranks top out. Yeah.
We know how important that is as gamers, don't we?
Yes, exactly.
That's true. Yeah. How have I achieved the next level or not?
Right.
And a couple weeks ago, like I said, we had the students working on an animal habitat project where they had to complete some research, create a model, and then write a descriptive paragraph that went along with the model about the habitat and the animal that adapted to live there. And so that's one of the things I really like about this site that I found for making these badges that we'll get to here in a minute is the ability to customize and individualize these badges.
And I like the way you did the one when you talk about customizing and individualizing. So for example, your next science badge might look totally different.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, I meant to. So if I look here and come back to the math one, and besides it saying rank 1, as you and I know as gamers, usually there's some other sort of graphic that kind of goes along with that. And if you look at that Zern one, or even the putting first things first one, there's a little icon at the top, either the little pink brain from Zern or the crown. And a lot of times when they rank up in a video game or unlock that next achievement, that will increase at the top. And so they might have, 2 brains for the next one or 2 crowns for the next one to show that next rank.
And so it almost ties into like Pokemon cards in a way, almost like, you got to collect them all. Like I got the 1 brain, now I want the 2 brain.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So, and it also makes it easier on badges like that to not have to spend so much time recreating some of those ones that you're using over and over, and you can focus on some of these more individualized and unique badges.
Yeah, so it sounds like you got a set theme, but the theme's still interesting enough that it keeps them motivated.
Right. And then I always do surprise them too.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
I like to come up with some extra badges that I don't tell them about, because one of the things that I had done at the beginning of all this is I actually typed up a letter that I shared with not just the students, but with the families as well. I use an app called Class Tag in order to communicate and kind of keep lines of communication open with the families. I've also been using Google Voice for a number of years now. But that Class Tag app really helps me communicate and be able to send things out, documents, announcements, that sort of thing. And so I typed up a letter and explained the process of the badging to the parents, knowing that my students would be more familiar with it. But I want them to know, because you can't always rely on the communication between that child and the families being perfect. I know as having 2 kids of my own. And so I wanted the parents to be aware of what was going on as well.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And I love the communication you have with your parents. During NTI, there's a lot of schools that say this is the best parent involvement we've had, because I think before they just thought everything was being taken care of at school, but now we do need them. We need those communications lines open now more than ever. And so hopefully it'll continue post NTI.
Absolutely. I would hope so, and I would think so as well. I mean, I like to look at this time as one of change, and let's not go back to the way it was. Let's really kind of march on and move forward.
And teachers, even though they're busy with meets and still planning, but it's given them time to actually learn new things, like come to the digital learning channel, learn about badging, and maybe have a chance to plan and implement that in their classroom. So yeah, I think it's been great.
Yeah, absolutely. So in that letter to the families that I also shared with my students in our Google Meet was, a sort of rubric that explained how to earn the reading badges, how to earn the math badges, and then we would talk about the science and social studies badges as well. But then I like to throw in, like I said, some of these extras so that they don't know what might pop up on their Google Classroom stream one day, just kind of depending on what they do. And then at the end of the week on Fridays during my class meeting on Google Meet, I share with the students, what it is that all the different badges that have been earned. I don't attach names to it at all, but it's just here are a list and here's kind of a graphic of the badges that have been earned this week. Among your classmates. And what's really cool is some of them will see that and, of course they'll say, well, I got that one, but then they might see one that they didn't earn. And then of course ask, how could I get something like that? Like the You've Gone Above and Beyond badge, that was one where I had issued that to a few students based on the science project they were working on. And so students wanted to know how they earned that. And so it lent itself to a more natural conversation on, what is it to put forth more effort? And what does that look like?
And sorry if you are going to get to this at a later slide, but can we talk about like how the students are presented these badges and then maybe how they share? I know how you present them and maybe how they share them. There you go. Okay, we're up next.
Yeah, absolutely. So in Google Classroom, there's the different tabs that are across the top. The one that says Stream, Classwork, People, and then for us it says Grades. And in the stream, you can share things onto the student stream, kind of like a social media feed,
right,
or Facebook wall, if you will. And this is where I will send the students badges, and you're able to drop the badge in here and using the add button down there. And you can put these badges from the website that I create them. You can either save them to your hard drive and keep them there, or you can then upload them to your Google Drive. That way you have them there. And one of the nice things I like about that is I'm able to then share those badges with my teammates at school so that they can then also issue these badges as they would like. And so you're able to drop the badges in there with the add button. And then let's say you have, and you're working on this weekly, and you notice that you have, 15, 16 students that have completed the math lesson. You're able to then select those 15, 16 students in that tab there that says all students. When you click that, your whole list will show up. And that way you can kind of send it out to them all at once. You can type a little message in there where it says share with your class and send them a little congratulatory message. And the other thing this lends itself to then is being able to send out those individual badges, putting their names in there, letting them know they've done an amazing job, and then it shows up on their Google Classroom stream.
I'm just thinking how I am as a learner, and if I'm in a Google Classroom and I see 16 of my classmates just got a badge, it might remind me like, oh, I need to finish that, or I need to get that done. I want to get that badge. So I see how it's that extra motivation that some of these students might need during NTI time.
Absolutely. I mean, that was kind of the whole point of all this, is what got me thinking some of those students that I really wanted to reach. They were participating in the sense that they were showing up for things, but they weren't necessarily completing the assignments like I really wanted them to. And so when I started thinking about those students in particular, and some of them just happened to be those same ones that would often talk about the video games they played over the weekend. I kind of thought, this is where I can start implementing these badges with these students.
Yes. Well, way to reach those sometimes challenging to reach students. Also, so I'm thinking, so for example, when you put that Above and Beyond badge up on like 3 students, and then everybody sees that, can they comment on each other's stream like, oh man, how did you get that?
Well, as of right now, I have that feature of Google Classroom turned off where the kids can comment back and forth on each other's thing.
Okay.
But where we do that sharing is in those class meets. One of the things that I've been just so impressed with and proud of my students has been my attendance in my Google Meets class meetings. My class is about 24 students, and I would say that I average around 20 students in each of those class meetings, which is just, I mean, I love it. I love being able to see those students. So that's when those discussions happen, because they see those pop up. I saw somebody had commented last week, it's kind of a digital sticker board, if you will, and that's exactly what kind of pops up. And so they can see those badges that have been earned and then ask those questions, and we can have that discussion.
Do you think, so obviously you must be doing something right in your meet that is bringing those students there every time. Do you think the badging, being able to talk about the badges and learn what new badges are coming out, has been something that's brought those students there?
I would think so. One of the things that they bring up in the meeting, when it's kind of been going on, they will then some of them will start asking, can we see what badges everybody got this week? So they'll actually kind of shout that out in the Google Meet, wanting to see them. And then one of my first indicators that this was working was I started receiving emails and messages on Google Classroom. Hey, I finished this. When am I getting my badge?
Yeah.
And so I knew that they were looking forward to that and wanting that badge right away. And so, it also kind of kept me on my toes, kept me honest.
Yeah.
And but also sent that message to me that, hey, this means something to them.
That's great. And I noticed you have that have a super rad day with the Bitmoji. I don't know if you've noticed, but I certainly have, that Bitmoji Classroom seems to be the new trend that is blowing up this week on the educational tweets.
I saw that on the Twitter feed, and I'm all about that. I'm going to see if I can create that Bitmoji Classroom and see what that looks like.
Yes.
So, but yeah, the other thing I love about the Google Classroom and being able to put these badges on there is I have added a lot of our staff members that work along with me, the ECE teachers, the assistants, the special area teachers. I've added all of them as co-teachers on my Google Classroom. And something that's been really awesome, you had asked about commenting. The students don't comment on each other's, but that allows the other teachers to then, and as another form or way to interact with those students, they've congratulated them. When they see that one of their students that they might be working with as an ECE teacher or even as a special area teacher, they've earned a badge, they jump in there and, congratulate them and tell them, what an awesome job that you've earned this badge. I'm proud of you, that sort of thing. And so it's a really cool and neat way for us to be able to stay connected in this digital way.
And I was just thinking, especially with those ECE teachers, I know a lot of times, you have to find those motivating things for their IEP and choices that they might earn. And I can see how badging could totally lead to that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you just think like a physical fitness badge, some sort of a music badge, an art badge. I mean, it lends itself to everything that we're doing. So
you said your team's doing this, your third grade team is doing this. And the EC teachers that work with those students are active. Has it spread throughout Middletown Elementary with other staff as well?
At this point, not to my knowledge. It's just been something that we've picked up within the past few weeks, and I started doing and shared. I know some of the teachers had mentioned they were going to try to either watch this live or after the fact to kind of get an idea for it. But other than on my team, not to my knowledge.
Okay. And I wanted to wait, and I'm going to edit this video, and I will get it up on the Digital Learning Channel on demand. Probably have it up there tomorrow.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
I'll let you know, and you can send it out to your staff and tweet it out.
Right on. Well, I was going to go through, if we've got some time here, I was going to go through just a real quick of how to create these badges. You can spend as much time or as little time, as you can creating them if we've got the time to kind of put one together here. I just wanted to be able to walk through what that looks like for people.
Yeah, that would be great.
All right, awesome. So the website that I'm using here is called canva.com, canva.com, and I was able to create a free account for this, and the free account offers me a lot of options. And so we go over to create design here, and I'll click that. And the one that I found that really works for the badging nicely is the one that's called logo. So that'll give me a nice square kind of canvas to work with here. And one of the things that we're working on right now that I've assigned our students is they can either work on a science project, kind of a science experiment type project, or a passion project, kind of like a genius hour type thing. And so my thoughts were, how can I incorporate something like a badge for that? And so I thought, let's see if I can't put one together. So there on the side over here is the different pieces that go along with the badge. I like to start with the background just to kind of get a feel for a background that I'd like to use. And we'll pick a cloud one here. And then elements, these are different little pictures, kind of that center part of your badge, if you will. And another thing you can do too is if you have icons or things of that sort that you'd like to use, you can upload your own images into this as well and use those, which is great.
Eric, teachers want to know, can they upload their Bitmoji?
And they can absolutely upload
Awesome.
their Bitmoji. That was one that I had done. Let's see, I've got my super rad one right here that you can absolutely upload.
All right, cool.
And I don't know if you noticed, there's another one I uploaded, another Bitmoji I uploaded here that says, how can I help? And so kind of at the beginning of this, I had sent a bunch out to my students just to kind of get them jazzed about this before I actually started issuing the ones that they had to earn. So we'll grab this guy. It looks kind of like a guy thinking. And we'll add some text here.
So it kind of puts it in like word art.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And there's quite a number of different fonts. Like I said, the free account, I'm just really impressed with the access that I have. And it gives these little cheat lines or guidelines that I love.
Yes.
I'm not the most artistic person, but it gives a lot of features that kind of help me out with figuring that out. And my passion project assignment has, even though we just assigned it on Monday, I've already received a whole bunch of just amazing ideas. I spent about, half an hour or so on the phone, or not on the phone, but Google Meet with a student today. And she's working on one, and she is going around and videotaping or video recording and recording the songs of different birds. And so she's studying all the birds that are around her house.
Man, that's great. Like, I'm not always a look on the bright side kind of guy, but yes, just hearing the awesome things happening during NTI, it's inspirational.
It is. I mean, some of these kids are just really taking off with it. And I love it. I mean, I got to sit and help her with that project. She had some questions about converting the audio files because the audio files that she had created did not go right into her Google Slides. They were at they were M4A, or which is an AAC format. And so I needed to change that, and we got it into an MP3 file for her.
Yes, I was. My wife found the insert audio part of Google Slides the other day, so she was all about that. But then we found, most of the songs you find, they're pretty strongly copyright protected now. So it was a hard time to get like a shareable MP3, but we finally did.
So this is kind of a badge. I mean, passion project. What do you want to know? What do you want to? I need to fix that. It's always a good idea to kind of check yourself, right? What do you want to know more about? And you can spend as much time as you want going into these and changing the backgrounds and the images and that sort of thing. When you create that title, if you do the add a heading, one of the nice things, it immediately pops it up here into the title. And then again, I'm amazed at what you get for free with a free account here, because then I can go in here, I can save my badge, and then if I go back to the home screen,
so it's like it's saving it on your Canva account. So you can go in and add rank 1, rank 2, and all those things. Okay.
That's exactly right. It's saving it on my Canva account right here. And so here's a lot of the ones that I've already created. I had worked on a different passion project, one right there. And but yeah, it has a lot of them that I've done already and just has them saved up here. So if you don't want to necessarily download it to your hard drive and have them all there, you can just kind of keep them here and use them as you will from here.
Tell us real quick about the leveling up to Big Brother one. I thought that was pretty neat.
That was, yeah, it was a couple weeks ago, or I guess what was that? Yeah, about a week and a half ago, during one of my Google Meets, our class meeting, I had a student who he was just beaming from ear to ear. I mean, just this huge smile. And he was wanting to share. And so I, called on him in the meeting, and he shared with the class that he is going to be a big brother. And he was just so excited. And he's actually one of my students that I've had kind of a tough time reaching. He joins the Google Meets, but is not necessarily completing the work like I've wanted to, or wanted him to. And so one of the things I told him, I said, I want you to be on the lookout for a badge. And so I put that leveling up, and that was the one I worked on the last time when we were here, and put that together for him. And he's a big gamer as well.
That's awesome. I think that's great. And also, I must comment, you have, I've been doing lots of these training sessions on the Digital Learning Channel. And as far as backgrounds, you're just strong, very strong with the Force.
Absolutely. I see your Star Wars back there.
Yeah, I got a little bit up there. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Do you want me to put up that last slide with the contact information?
Yeah, that'd be great if you don't mind. And and I'm going to look through the chat right now. We have Sade Graves and Kathleen Receiver from the Digital Innovation Team. They've been monitoring the chat. Just a lot of positive, like people just love Canva. I think they like seeing the examples. I think they like seeing how easy it is. So you definitely have links to Canva there, I see, and Bitmoji. Class Tag. Can you tell us a little bit about Class Tag? I got some questions today about it. We have like 3 minutes, so if you just tell us a minute or two how you are using Class Tag in your class.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, over the years, I have used several different communication apps with my families. Starting with, something like Class Dojo, which has been around a while, moved to Blooms and used Blooms for a while. And then over the past couple of years, moved to Class Tag. And, I would say it's the most similar to a Facebook style feed in the sense on what the wall looks like. I can post messages on there and share different things. I can upload documents. I can message parents if parents have either put in their email address or their phone numbers or both in some cases. It sends a message, like kind of a text message to them. And it has a place to share pictures. A couple of just other amazing features that I've loved about it, and I know some of my families have as well, is the ability to do parent conferences, parent conference sign up on it, as well as classroom parties. I can allow the room parent to have certain access, and they can create a class party event, which then they can put up items. And parents then can go on and say, oh, yeah, I'll bring that item, and lets them know real time what's going to be coming in as far as donations for class parties. And so just an amazing communication tool, like I said, to just stay connected with the families and be able to share things.
Okay, that's great. And Eric, thank you very much. I always enjoy your session, enjoy working with you. I think the badging's a great idea. And like I said, we talked about how you're using it during NTI, but when you go back to your classroom, this is going to be a thing going on in the classroom, correct?
Oh, this is it. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm having a blast doing it, just always listening to my students and listening for little things that are happening in their lives or taking place, because it doesn't have to be strictly academic. It can be things that are happening to them at home, like with the kid that was going to be a big brother. And so just being able to send stuff out to them.
So true. And like I think I said last time, I'm glad we'll have this video available for your fourth grade teachers. So when those Middletown students go to fourth grade, they're like, when do I get my badge? And you can,
exactly.
Yes, exactly. Well, thank you very much, Eric. We appreciate it. Thanks for coming on the channel.
Oh, I appreciate the opportunity. It's been an honor.
All right. Take care.